Hi, guys. Today's case is tragic and sad and avoidable. Like some of our cases end up, we find out it was avoidable. It could have all been avoided if the signs would have just been seen and taken a little more seriously before they got out of hand. And in this case, the case of poor Ella Bennett, a 4-year-old girl who was killed by her own brother, 13-year-old Paris Bennett. And it goes into a lot of mental health issues. And we talk a lot about parenting. And parenting is hard. And parenting objectively and looking at our kids instead of being like, my little precious baby never would. You have to look at your kids and realize that they might have problems. They're not detrimental, and it doesn't mean that they're defective or, but things go on, and sometimes our kids need help. They need a little more help than we can give them, like especially if your kid has a disorder or some sort of psychological problem. How the fuck? There's no parenting manual on that. How are we supposed to know what to do, right? Get them some help from somebody who knows what to do, right? So, today's case, though, yeah, it's a tough one. So stay tuned to find out more about poor Ella and what went wrong with Paris Bennett. Hello!
Hey!
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. 2 peas in a crime pod. Switching it up.
That's all right. I love it.
This is my mama, Kelly.
Hey, this is my daughter, Muffin, but we call her Courtney.
Courtney. I was Muffin way before Bluey's sister was Muffin, by the way. Just throwing that out there. But
I don't even know that Bluey had a sister named Muffin.
So you know that it has nothing to do with that. But how are you guys? Hope you're doing well. If you're not, I'm sorry. Such is life. But we're all here now, and things are going to be okay now that we're here. And we're going to talk about crime.
That's right.
So, Mama, are you going to try to read the case today?
I'm going to try.
I'm
still coughing a little, but I'm much better than I was, so we'll see.
She's trying to be a trooper. So,
we are on episode 69.
This is episode 69.
Viewer discretion. We're going to be talking about child murder, family dysfunction, and mental illness.
I love it.
This case is terrible. It's horrible. It's going to trigger me. It's going to trigger you. It's going to trigger you. No matter what, no matter who you are, this case is going to affect you.
Great.
I'm sure of it. But
okay.
It's a story worth telling. And
I should put my phone on silent so that we don't get any disruptions.
Any interruptions from all your people that want to love you and talk to you.
It probably wouldn't go off this whole time except for bill collectors, but
they love you so
much.
They
fucking love me. They're obsessed with me a little bit. Like, calm down and get off my tits.
All right, shall we get into it?
I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be.
Okay, this is the story of Paris Lee Bennett.
Okay.
Paris is a bona fide genius. His IQ is 142.
Mensa.
He was always creative and artistic his whole life.
Okay.
He loved to draw starting at age of 3.
Okay.
And he was a calm child, having, just a rare temper tantrum, occasional outburst, just like most kids.
Kid stuff. Got it. Yeah.
But one thing that happened, he was 8 years old and his mom, Charity, became pregnant. And then he was not happy at all. He didn't want a baby. He didn't want his mom to have anybody else.
So he's struggling with change and struggling with the thought of having to, love be divided. That's still kind of a kid thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the minute she was born, he fell head over heels in love with her. Her name was Ella.
Okay.
He loved playing with her, drawing pictures for her, and of course, imagine having an 8-year-old brother when you're a little baby who's entertaining, and she adored him.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
She wanted to do everything that he did, and so it was a really good relationship.
Okay.
They lived in Abilene, Texas, And it's a little fun fact, a community that is in the Guinness Book of World Records as having the most churches per capita.
Cool.
There are almost more churches than people.
That sounds great.
Right? Everyone knows everybody there, and everyone talks about everybody there.
Exactly what I would expect, yeah.
This story is tragic and senseless, but it's also the story of a young boy who did the unthinkable and then what happened to him in the criminal justice system. And in my opinion, it gives pause to wonder if our systems of checks and balances need revamped.
I don't even have to know the story to know that the answer is yes, but go ahead.
Okay. On February 4th, 2007, Charity Bennett, the mother of 13-year-old Paris and 4-year-old Ella, had to work late. She left her children at home with a babysitter.
Okay.
At midnight, the cops were at the door of her place of work, and it was then that she found out that her daughter Ella was dead.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And then shortly after she found that out, she found out that her son Paris was in custody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's hard. At 11:42 p.m., 13-year-old Paris Bennett called 911, very distraught.
Okay.
He told the dispatcher that he accidentally killed his sister. And he said things like, "I feel so messed up." He said that he had been sleeping, and when he woke up, he was having hallucinations and thought his sister was a demon. He told the dispatcher that she was bleeding all over the bed because he stabbed her with a knife. And she said, "Where did you stab her?" And he said, "Lots of places." And then he said he didn't mean to. And the dispatcher said, "I want you to give her CPR." And he was reluctant to do that. He said, "I know she's dead." And she kept saying, "Just put her on the floor, give her CPR." And he kept arguing with her, like he didn't want to do it. But then he said, "Okay," and you could hear him counting the compressions over the phone. I listened to the call, and it was very slow. Like, she didn't tell him 1, 2, 3, 4.
Staying alive.
Yeah, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even slower than that.
You know, he's only 13. You don't get CPR training in school, you know.
Right.
And you're panicked as it is, and I get it. Like, I don't necessarily know that it was him, like, not trying to, like, or, like, trying to make her die. You know what I mean? But I would need to know more before, you know what I mean? Like, I could see that being either way. And quite honestly, about him being like, "I don't want to give her CPR." If you've ever been around a dead body, I don't know how other people are. Like, I've seen people at funerals and it's open casket and they're like touching the hand and like rubbing them and stuff. That grosses and creeps me the fuck out.
Does it?
Once you are dead, I don't want to touch you.
Oh
you
my
are
gosh.
cold. You don't feel alive anymore. There's no warmth in you. I think it's gross. When my dog died, I was absolutely like, I knew I was going to have to like move him, and he was cold and stiff, and I was like choking back vomit. Like, it really grosses me out and creeps me out. Like, you're just a carcass now. Like, I'm not trying to, and that's just me. Like, other people probably feel different, but like, that's how I am. So like, I could see him being like, I don't want to touch her. Like,
yeah, no, I get it. And I feel so bad because when my mom died and we all went to her apartment and the emergency medical team did everything they had to do, and then they just left. And this old guy shows up.
It was the ME who showed up. It was the medical examiner. They said the medical examiner will be here to get her. So the cops left once they deemed that she just died.
It wasn't the medical examiner. It was the guy from the funeral home.
Was it?
Yeah, he wasn't a medical examiner.
Well, it was just one old guy.
And my mom was sitting in her chair.
And she's like 5'11". Like, she was probably 6 foot.
200 pounds.
My grandma was a big woman.
Yeah.
And she had been dead for a while.
And
it was really gross.
I was getting ready to help the medical examiner lift her, and Courtney stepped in and said, Mom, I will do this.
No, that's not how it went at all. The medical examiner said, he looked around and he said, well, I'm going to need help getting her on the gurney. And I looked over at you and Clay, and you started sobbing, and Clay turned white as a ghost. Clay's face made this look tan. And he would Clay did the classic nervous Clay, and he went, no. Like that, like, I'm not lifting my grandmother's corpse. Like, I'm not doing that. And I looked around, and I am grossed out by dead things. I am. But I looked, and that's my mom's mother. That's your mom. And you were devastated. You were beside yourself. You were, like, inconsolable that day. And Clay had some type of relationship with my grandma. He was definitely closer with her. They definitely had more memories than I ever did. When we weren't speaking, you guys were all having game nights. Clay had memories with her. I made a choice not to talk to my grandma. I cut her out. I didn't think that she was a benefit to my life, or especially my children's life. She was an alcoholic. She had problems. She was selfish. I just didn't.
She had a lot of mental problems.
I didn't know how to create better boundaries with her than just that firm one. Like, you know what? I won't have any problems with you if you're just not in my life. And so I had younger memories with her that were great, and then that was enough. And I just felt like I was sad that she was dead because of you. I was sad for you. I was sad for Clay. I didn't really feel sad. Like, I felt like a general amount of sadness, like a human life was lost. This is a member of my family, okay. But, like, you guys were devastated, like you just lost someone very special to you, and I wasn't feeling that.
No.
I just wasn't. I felt more sad. Like, watching you made me want to sob, but not because of her. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I just felt like neither one of you should have to do. None of us should have had to. That was absolutely fucking bonkers. But
I mean, I was getting ready to. I didn't think that I could, just because
you're not strong.
I'm not strong.
But I was like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm doing this. Let's go. So we had to get the sheet under her. I had to roll her towards me, and he had to put the sheet under her, and then we had to team lift the sheet. And like I said, it had been a little while, and the evacuation of the fluids had started, and it was
yucky.
All senses alerted. Every sense on fire. It was gross. Yeah. But I did it for you guys, because I was like, you guys should not have to remember her that way or think about that or do that.
I really appreciate that.
And then I promptly went in the bathroom and threw up. Marissa chased me to the bathroom, and I was just throwing up because it was awful. But yeah, like, I couldn't believe that they didn't bring 2 fucking people. Like, we didn't call you and tell you it was a child. Like, obviously we told you a grown adult woman died.
Yeah.
Why didn't you bring 2 people to collect her?
Well, that's why they were the cheapest funeral home in the area. And they were. It was like $700 to cremate her. No, it was awful. I wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. Like, can I tell you something I never told anybody? Sure. I wouldn't call it a fun fact, but it's an interesting fact. Okay. So my sister lived in California and had to fly into town, and it ended up taking her a week to be able to get there. So they just had my mom, chilling in the cooler, I guess, at the funeral home. But she's slowly, decomposing. They didn't start the embalming process when they got her? They don't do that when they cremate. Oh, she was being cremated. You're right. I'm sorry. So right. He wasn't actually supposed to wait that long. I guess there's like a limit of the amount of time you can wait. I'm sure. And, well, there was the funny thing that happened. I told you this before. When we saw her at the funeral home, that's the first I had seen her since I had been at her apartment. And I was like so grateful, the man. And Carly, my sister, was grateful, and she was like, thank you so much. This really means a lot for me to get to view her. And I was like, oh, yes, thank you. And I was like, and thank you. She looks so much better. And my sister just kind of did one of these, and she was like, well, what did she look like before? And without thinking, when I just went, well, she kind of looked like this. What'd she look like? And I don't know how the funeral guy did not bust up laughing or lose his shit when I did that. Because
But that was you. That's not even like funny because you're being funny. It's funny because it's spot on accurate.
It's what
she had
looked like.
My guess is that she had an absolute massive heart attack. Her heart exploded in her chest while she was in the process of eating a Subway sandwich. Like she had food in her mouth and her fucking heart went and she went.
Yeah.
And she was like mid-bite. And that's how she went, sitting up in her chair just like this. And yeah, it was very much like...
It didn't look like they look when they have them all presentable.
No, it was awful.
Like a zombie.
It was awful.
It was. And so I thanked him for that, but...
And I would also like to throw out for you guys, I wasn't close with my grandma, but I feel 100% comfortable saying that if grandma's watching this right now from heaven or wherever she's at, she's laughing so hard, she would think this is so funny.
She would.
She would absolutely find this hysterical.
But my sister's response was hilarious. Then my sister is a big principal of a school. You know, she's
she holds herself in very high regard. She
believes in the Emily Post standards of how you're supposed to be, and
I don't know what that means, but she's uppity.
She's uppity. So her response to when I did that, she just went, "Oh, well, I guess she does look better." So, but that was just kind of a little funny thing. But okay, here's the interesting fact. So after they cremated her and I got her ashes, and we wanted to spread her ashes in 3 different places that she had been that were special to her. So they just gave them to me in a box inside of a plastic bag. And when we went to spread them, they stank. Like decomposition. And I wasn't expecting that. And it stank up my car because a little bit spilled on the seat of my car. And how
did you just let a little bit of grandma spill on the seat of your car? What do you mean?
I was putting the bag back in the box, and a little bit was on the edge, the rim, and just a little bit.
Okay.
So she's living forever in my car. But the thing is, I wasn't expecting that. Those ashes, number one, they weren't ashy. They were bony. And yeah, and they stank like decomposition.
Okay, I don't have a ton of experience with this, but like I saw grandpa's ashes and they were just ashes and it just smelled like ash.
Yeah, no, this smelled like decomposed body, and it was not ashes. They didn't like blow in the wind. They were like bony, like bone fragments.
Like, did they just like...
Maybe that's why they're the cheapest.
What are you fucking talking about?
Maybe that's why they were the cheapest funeral home.
Why didn't you show me?
I don't know.
I would have loved to have seen
that. I just assumed that's what they were supposed to be like.
Okay.
I'm telling this story thinking, oh, that's what ashes really are. That's not like in the movies where they blow in the wind. And you're telling me Grandpa's ashes blew in the wind.
Yeah, it was fucking ashes.
Yeah, my mom's wasn't.
Can you guys write in and let us know if, like, you've had experience with a loved one's ashes, if they were just, like, ashy, dusty?
I mean, there was a little bit of ash, but it was bone fragments. They just dropped.
Or if it was like that for you, because I don't know. Like I said, I've not seen a lot of people's ashes, but they were ashy, burn up, nothing left. I mean, and like they give you everything out of the, you know, the incinerator. Like they scoop up whatever's there and they give it to you, so you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. But no, that fire gets real fucking hot.
Oh, yeah.
And even if you're juicy, it's going to steam that out of you and then burn up. Like, let us know what you think. I'm going to have to Google this and be like, and it certainly shouldn't smell. That's what's getting me. It should not have a decomposition smell.
It did.
It should get hot enough to burn out any of that.
It didn't.
Okay. Let us know if you have had a similar experience, please, in the comments. Because what the fuck?
Yeah. So, if cadaver dogs ever had to go over my car, they would
alert.
Point. Yeah.
I was in that car, and you never told me, like, oh, you're sitting with Grandma.
I scrubbed it.
You're sitting on Grandma, technically.
Oh, my gosh.
I can't even believe you.
Why would I tell anybody that? It's terrible.
You just told the whole world, potentially.
Well, I'm over it now, but...
Okay. I spilled a little bit of Grandma.
It's been 7 years.
Okay. Oh, rest in peace, Grandma. Rest in pieces. Little here, little there. Clumpy, wet, soggy. Okay. So anyways, this whole rant started from the fact that when the brother called 911, she was trying to get him to perform CPR, and he was like, no, I'm pretty sure she's dead. And I'm trying to, before I even know the who, what, where, when, why, I'm trying to see if I think that that's like really like sinister and calloused for a boy to be like, no, I'm not going to do CPR. She's dead, or she's going to be anyways. Like, I'm not doing that. Or if it is just like,
well, let me
shock of all of it. You know, like, I was out of it and I was hallucinating when I came to and realized what I was doing. I've never been around this much blood. I've never been around, you know, like, and I'm like,
which very well may have been. But when the med techs got there, she was laying on her stomach. There was no way he was doing CPR on her. So he was pretending when he was calling out those numbers. So we don't know why.
Okay. Well, then that doesn't drive at all then.
Yeah. So what happened was that evening, Paris convinced his babysitter to go home early somehow. So she wasn't there. Then he grabbed a knife from the kitchen, a big knife, and stabbed his sister 17 times.
A 4-year-old.
A 4-year-old. Charity, their mother, got home to witness her daughter. They left the top of the body bag open so she could see her face, but her face had a huge bruise on her forehead, black eye from where Paris had punched her.
Jesus Christ.
And then this part nobody wanted to talk about, but when they processed Paris's clothes, his underwear had semen in them. Yeah. 4 hours later, Charity was sitting in the defense attorney's office trying to take care of the only child she had left.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get it.
She was torn. It felt like a betrayal to Ella to try to help Paris, but it felt like a betrayal to Paris to do nothing to help him. That's her kid.
You'll never know unless you're in that situation. I could make 1,000 judgment calls, but I'd love to think that I could tell you what I would do or how I would feel. But when you're actually there and you're like, one of my children is absolutely gone forever, and now the other one, the only one I have left, I'm about to lose forever as well. Like, I don't know. It's got to be tough. It's got to be tough.
It was.
And you'd have to be, if you were leaving those kids alone together, you must not have had any inkling that anything was wrong. Like, you just became, if you had any inkling before, you just became abruptly aware that something's wrong with your fucking son.
And this is where it gets messed up, which you'll find out later.
And, like, maybe jail's where he needs to be. Like, you know, like, he has obviously a danger to those around him. Like, this comes back to what I said before about, like, women holding sons accountable. Like, hold your children accountable. Like, you can love your son while he's in jail. Like, or maybe, I don't know, maybe if something was deeply wrong with him, then he should be in a psychiatric facility, but then there were no signs. You know, I feel like you're about to get into that. Like,
I am about to get into that.
I feel like you're about to tell me there was lots of signs and that this is just absolutely was avoidable if she would have just got the kid help before or something. So I don't know. All right, go ahead.
Well, first, let me tell you a little bit about Ella. She was precocious and bright and a very happy child. She loved butterflies. Her grandma, Charity's mom, her name was Kyla, was just getting ready to plant a butterfly garden full of flowers to attract the butterflies for her.
Oh, yeah, that's sweet.
So now, of course, when they see a butterfly, Kyla says, "Hey, Ella."
Of course.
She loved Paris and his toys. She was by no means shy. When she walked into her room, she announced herself. And she was bossy and opinionated. So a little precocious 4-year-old, she was not shy. She owned it.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Like Lindsay. That's how my daughter is.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
Her mother described her as having fit a very large personality into a very small body. And they called her a pistol.
Yeah.
She always said what was on her mind, never holding back. So she said Charity and Kyla were estranged.
Okay.
That's the mother
and the
of Paris and her mother.
Yeah.
The grandmother. So Ella was allowed to go see them, though. But she would say to Grandma, "Well, even though Mom doesn't love you, I love you."
I can see it.
Paris was an odd child most of his life. He would say odd to outright disturbing things. When he was sitting in the corner of the defense attorney's office, the first thing he said to Charity was, "Well, you used to say that you would never be able to kill anybody unless they hurt one of your kids. I bet you didn't think it was going to turn out like this, so what are you going to do now?" 13-year-old.
He just sounds like if his IQ really tested that high, it sounds like his mental aptitude was high, but his emotional aptitude was low to
0.
damaged. Yeah.
Yeah. He once
Doesn't
asked
have any
his mom,
social skills.
So she, I watched a documentary on this, by the way. It's on Prime.
Okay.
And you can look it up. It's disturbing, to say the least. But she has a lot of camera footage of the kids.
Okay.
And she was doing dishes, and he was going, "Mom, what's your least favorite word?" And she's like, "I don't know." And he said, "Is it kill Charity's children?" Just weird things like that. He's just he may be a genius, but I think he's on the spectrum in one case, and there's other stuff going on, which we'll get into.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's something there that, if you didn't...
It's just not quite appropriate.
If you didn't really parent to it or tend to his specific needs, I could see it getting out of hand, which it did, to say the least. So
there's videos of the two of them playing together, and he's rough with Ella, and like grabbing her head, and his mom would have to go, "Hey," and like he's playing, but he just doesn't realize that he's not trying to hurt her.
Has feelings like that could hurt her. Right.
He's like lifting her up by her head, and in ways that could really hurt her. So it just seemed like he just doesn't have control of himself.
Yeah.
He wrapped his hands around her neck and yanked her head around in one of the videos. So, in my opinion, he definitely needed supervised when he was with Ella.
Yeah, even if that's all it was, with nothing else, none of the weird shit he was saying, at the very least, like, we're dealing with a child who's having a really hard time comprehending that, like, you are bigger than her and you are big enough to cause her injury. I just had to talk with Harvey about this the other day. We were at the grocery store and they were goofing off together, and Harvey would take Lindsay's hand and be like, "Don't look at the snacks," and he would like yank her. And Lindsay, like, I'm surprised she didn't get whiplash,
Harvey's a big boy. He looks like a tree
8
trunk.
And Lindsay's 11, but Lindsay weighs like 94 pounds and Harvey weighs like 115 pounds, and he's built like a bowling ball and she's built like
she looks like
a pole.
Yeah, she's just
And I had to I was like, Harvey, like, you have to understand that, like, you weigh more than her and you're a little stronger than her, and when you plant your feet and you yank, she's gonna go. And you could really hurt. Like, if she had been really looking at something and wasn't paying attention, like, you could have pulled her arm out of socket, you could have messed up her neck and given her whip. Like, Harvey, you have to understand that you can't just yank on her with that much strength. Like, even though you're both playing and laughing, like, you have to understand what you're capable of. Like, it could very quickly become not funny anymore. And he was like, okay. And, like, he totally got it. But I had to stop and, like, explain that to him, because he was just like, we're playing. Like, what do you mean? I'm yanking on her.
He's
like,
not trying to do anything.
No, he wasn't trying to hurt her at all. That absolutely, he would have, you have to know my boy, he would have sobbed and been like, oh my God, what can I do? Like,
yeah.
He didn't not think he could hurt her. I had to be like, you could hurt her. Just so you know, like, you got to not do that, buddy. So that's like a normal thing that kids do, like not understanding force, not understanding ligaments and where your arms are
injury,
weakest at, and, you know, like how delicate a neck is and things like this. Yeah, like how the fuck would they know? You know what I mean? So some of that's normal, but if I was seeing that Harvey was constantly doing that, even after I'd explained it or told him or, like, tried to make him aware of it and it just didn't seem to be clicking, I wouldn't leave them home alone together. Not because I was afraid of, like, oh, he's a demon, but just because, like, that's how shit happens.
Yes.
You know? Like, you just have to...
You got to use your brain when you're gauging when it's okay to leave your kids home alone. And
yeah.
I mean, obviously, Charity didn't leave them home alone.
No, she had a babysitter, but this kid was smart enough to con a babysitter. Was it a young babysitter? Like...
You know, I don't know.
Because...
They didn't say, and I wasn't able to see that, so...
I would just wonder, like...
there's a bunch of stuff. There's stuff on YouTube.
I don't know a single person that has ever babysat at any age where the kid would be like, you could leave now. And even when I was 15, I'd have been like, nice try. Go to bed. I'm not fucking leaving. I'm getting paid to do this. Or regardless of the pay, like, your mom asked me to stay till she got home, and, well, she's not home, so I'm not leaving. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he must have been pretty convincing to get a babysitter to leave.
He's very articulate and very manipulative.
Well, he's got a high IQ. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can be... We've all known those people who are, like, super duper book smart, but, like, kind of dumb. Like, no street smarts and didn't have really good social skills. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we've all known those people.
I am one of those people.
Like, you could be in Mensa, but you're kind of a fucking idiot. Like, I wouldn't pick you on my kickball team, so congratulations, you're so smart. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that's just the vibe he's giving, is that, like, sometimes being that smart is hard. You know what I mean? Is you do feel disconnected from people, and you do feel like you don't fit in. And
that is true.
Especially at a young age.
You think differently.
Yeah.
And you think deeper.
And if you have any kind of, like, real problem, like, let's say this kid has, like, this really high opinion of himself and, like, knows he's so smart, you know what I mean? Like, or, like, you know, like, more narcissistic tendencies, like, then it starts to get really dangerous. But I don't know, keep going.
Well, the interesting thing is that Charity said she never thought he was dangerous to Ella, even though she's taken these videos and you can see him being... She didn't see that as something that might be concerning.
She didn't want to see it as something that might be concerning. Just like I just said about Harvey. Like, I think I know my son very well, and I know that he was not trying to hurt Lindsay. I think that I'm, like, objective enough as a person that if I thought that he was, like tomorrow I saw him doing that again after I explained to him how dangerous it was, I would know right away if, like, now I know you're trying to hurt them. Like, you know, like, I think that I would be like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I'd like to think that I'd be objective enough to be like, I know that I explained to you how dangerous that was, and I saw you smiling and laughing and yanking on her arm again. Like, is it funny for you if she dislocates her? Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you don't want to believe that your children would do bad things, but for one, they are children and they do make mistakes. And for two, children have their own level of understanding and they hold grudges. You know, I don't know, maybe Lindsay deleted Harvey's progress off of Fortnite and then ate all his candy and hid his woofie from him, and he's seeking vengeance at his level. You know what I mean? Like, not everything is sinister, but, like, kids have their own dynamics at play. Yes. And they have their own feeling of right and wrong and vengeance, and You know what I mean? And that's how, like, I do work. I don't think either one of my kids would ever purposely hurt one another, but I could absolutely see them getting into some sort of a fucking fight about something ultimately stupid, you know, that they didn't need to be fighting about, and pushing one another, and someone falling and, like, cracking their head open, and then them being like, oh my God, that escalated quickly. Like, because they weren't actually, that's not what they wanted at all, but they don't have that ability to foresee how far their actions.
Well, no, their frontal lobes aren't fully formed. And,
Right.
you know, they just can't. That's just a fact, which is why kids don't get prison the way that adults do.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's hard to say if this mom just really thought, like, oh, these are just kids being kids. I don't know this woman. I don't know how smart she is. I don't know what her experience level with kids is. Oh, you can tell she's
smart.
Is she?
And she's a reader. She reads to her kids. They are very well read. You can tell. You can tell she has a high IQ.
I've been around kids like my whole life. Like, since I was 12, I've constantly been around a kid and taking care of kids. So I feel like I understand kids really well. Some parents really don't get experience with kids at all until they end up pregnant, and then they're like,
you can be very smart, which I am, and I'm not saying that to brag. I know I'm very smart. I was the only one in chemistry class that didn't have to go to the study group.
Yeah. No, you're extremely, you can ace school. You're very smart.
But my son was 8 before I thought he might have Tourette's syndrome. And everybody else said we knew it. And, you know, it's just not something that he buzzed his lips and he did stuff, but I just thought he was being a kid. I mean, there are things that you can overlook.
Yeah.
As a parent, or it just never occurred to me that he may have an issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was causing him anxiety and these other things. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Charity. She was living in San Antonio, Texas when she was 18. And that's when she became pregnant with Paris. She said by the time she was 17, she was strung out on heroin. She had skipped the 10th grade and then graduated with honors, which tells you she's smart.
Okay.
She did get sober, but she was miserable. She hated being sober. In her opinion, life felt too hard without the drugs to take the edge off. And she made a deal with herself that she would give it 1 month to start feeling happy. And if she didn't, she was going to overdose. But then she found out she was pregnant with Paris. And
so it sounds to me like, on top of being smart, which I said can make you feel isolated at times or different, and when you're a teenager, you're dealing so much with finding yourself and, you know, anxiety and what does fitting in mean and who am I and all this, right?
Yes.
It sounds like there was way more than that going on, though. Like, she was already 17 and, like, strung out on heroin and felt like life was too hard and she had to have this, you know what I mean? Like, it sounds like there's just something else at play there. Like, she deeply needed help.
Definitely. And there was some stuff we'll get into.
Again, she had all this smarts, and you think that those smarts would lead her to, like, go read a book about addiction or go read a book, you know what I mean? Like, she had the mental capability to learn about it, but she was lacking, like, the emotional aptitude to, like...
I just don't think she had any self-esteem. She'd never felt loved by her mother, which we'll get into.
Oh, okay.
But, when she found out she was pregnant with Paris, now there was somebody to love that was important to her. And she never did drugs after that.
Well, that's wonderful.
She was able to stay sober, and he was her.
But it's sad. To me, that's just sad that, like, you never felt worthy of joy on your own. And I feel like I've said this to you before. Like, your life turned around when you got pregnant with me. And it, like, a part of that is wonderful, for sure. And I'm not trying to be negative, but it kind of makes me sad in hindsight, thinking back, like, that you never felt worthy enough to turn your life around on your own, or...
Yeah, no, I was heading down a dark path.
Yeah, like, that you know what I mean? Like, you needed to live for someone else instead of ever feeling like you were worthy of just living for yourself. Not that I don't understand why completely you felt that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it makes me sad that, like, that's the case for so many people. That,
it
like,
is.
Without this focus on a child to live for and love for, you...
Which, through counseling, I feel like I'm changing that pattern in my mind. It's a mind thing.
Yeah.
And,
ultimately.
I've kind of lived my whole life that way. And just in the past few years, I've been trying to live more for myself and do things that are just for me.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
So, but I'm 52.
But you're 50. Yeah.
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 So,
And I feel like it's not just you. I'm using you because it was relatable because you were both 17, but most people have a hard time. I feel like I either notice people who are like this, who live for someone else, or people who only fucking live for themselves and have no problem living for themselves.
It's hard to combine them.
There are not a lot of people out there who have a healthy balance of self and self-love. It's sad. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But anyways, so she turned her life around. She did stop doing drugs. Paris is born.
She used to tell Paris one of these days he'd have to remind her how he saved her life. And it seemed ironic that 13 years later, he destroyed her life.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Charity's mom, Kyla. She lives in Savannah, Georgia. And in the documentary, it says they live on a big farm. It seems kind of like Charity's sister and her kids live on the farm with her, but it never really says who they are.
Okay.
So there's 15 acres of land, a big lake. They have chickens, goats, horses, dogs, and cats. And basically, Kyla owned this trucking company, and she used to be a U.S. mail contractor.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of money going on with that.
You don't own that much land and livestock unless you got money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had money, and she was retired from the trucking company, so she's just living off of
Retirement, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, when I don't have this written down, but I did want to mention it. When Charity was around 5, I believe, her father was shot and killed. And maybe she wasn't 5. Let me think about this. I didn't write it down. Darn it, I thought I was going to remember it. Okay, Charity's father and mother were married. They got divorced, and then they got together again. So maybe Charity was older. Maybe they got divorced when she was 5. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
But at some point in Charity's
life, in her
young
childhood.
life.
Yes. Her father was shot and killed. And her mother was arrested for conspiring to
have him
killed. So apparently there was a guy who said that she had offered him $50,000 to kill her husband. And it had some mob ties. And she went through a trial. Yeah, it's a whole other side story, which is why I didn't want to get in big deal into it, because it's
its own thing.
It's its own thing. But basically, she was tried, and they found her not guilty.
Okay.
Charity does not believe that she's not guilty. She sees her mother as a very manipulative, smart person who is a psychopath.
Okay.
So, and then here's another little interesting thing I didn't put, but she describes Paris as being very much like his grandmother. And his grandmother's response to that is, well, yeah, we're both manipulative people. I manipulated a jury. And then she does this little smile into the camera. Yeah, it's shady as hell.
Okay, so there's a long history of psychopathy, mental history here, and it sounds kind of like, for whatever reason, Charity got the smarts, but at least she also had some empathy in her.
Charity reminds me of me very much, where she doesn't know any really healthy relationships from her core family.
Hold on, I'm going to sneeze and my neck hurts, and hold on, I think I caught it. Okay, got it. No, I get that a lot.
Yeah, because
she doesn't lack intelligence, but when it comes to any kind of emotional toolkit or coping skills or a sense of self-esteem, all of those things are non-existent. Like, who was around teaching you any of that shit? Your psycho mother, your selfish mother? Like, no. So you don't start learning that shit then until you're an adult, and usually it's through the hard way, because your trial error, like, you're just doing trial and error of different coping skills and different communication skills, and
yes,
it takes a lot longer to get your life on track.
It does.
And some people don't. Some people struggle and end up down the wrong path, and some people, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, definitely. So basically, Charity hadn't talked to her mom in years when the murder of Ella happened.
Okay.
She describes Kyla as an extremely beautiful woman who'd been married 7 or 8 times. She said, I don't even know. And she drank and did drugs.
So wait a second. Why the fuck was she letting her kids go over there?
That's what I'm telling you. She's like me. She's like, this is my family, so we just have to accept each other.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't have another family, so we just have to learn how to cope with this one.
Yeah. Yep. That tracks.
So, Kyla said she didn't give Charity all the attention that she wanted. When you ask Kyla's side of it.
Oh, why she's estranged? Like, which, if you're a narcissistic person, mean literally giving them an ounce of attention ever. Like, I said good morning to her. What more should she fucking want from me? Like, ugh, I do everything for this kid. Like, that's how narcissistic people think. Like,
she admits that she had her own life, and she didn't see herself as just a mother. She described herself the way you were describing a healthy person. She says, I was a mother, but I had my own life. And Charity wanted me to just be a mother. That's how she describes herself.
Which sounds to me like you were doing the bare minimum as a mother. Like,
not doing.
There was food in the cupboard, and the house wasn't burnt down and the electric was on, but you were off doing whatever the fuck you wanted to do. And you're like, there was food and clothes. She was fine, you know?
So you think that's what a mother is?
Yeah. And yeah, I'm totally for, like, mothers should be able to have a life. You should be able to go join a dance class if you want, or
but still
take
be
a
good
trip,
mother.
Or, you know what I mean? Go out, sing with your friends, do stuff. But, like, you should still, you know, most of the time, being a mother is a full-time job.
It's a
like,
priority.
you definitely still need to give to yourself to fill your cup.
Yes.
And there's a balance there for sure. But, yeah, you can't just, like, be like, yeah, they were totally fending for themselves, but
right.
I was, you know.
Right. They wanted more attention than I could give.
Right.
So, Charity says that nothing was ever good enough for Kyla. Her performance, nothing she ever did was good enough for Kyla. And she felt like Kyla just didn't like her. So I can kind of relate to that too. My mom was not a hugger. She never said, I love you. She never said, good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. It was get to bed. And then when I was afraid and came downstairs and said I was afraid, I got my ass beat. Get to bed.
Yeah.
You know? So it's just a cold being, a person who does not know how to show love.
Yeah.
So currently, Charity works as a counselor, and she teaches people about healthy boundaries. So she's obviously done a lot of self-work herself.
Yeah.
But she had made a promise to Ella the night that Ella was killed that something meaningful would come of her death. And so she set up what's called the Ella Foundation to prevent violence by sharing their story. Let's rewind to Paris now and his trial.
Okay.
Okay, so it was not Charity's desire to get Paris cleared of any charges. For one, she was afraid of him.
How could you not be?
But she loved him just the same, and she thought what he needed was mental help. She wanted to see him be rehabilitated in a mental institution.
Well, he's only 13.
Right.
So, you know, I don't disagree. That's pretty young. I don't know, though. That's a pretty violent act, and you know, I don't disagree. He definitely needs mental help, for sure, for sure, for sure. But I don't know if I want him hitting 18 and just entering back into society.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like they hold him as a juvenile in a mental facility, and they give him years of counseling, and he goes right, yes, 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 and then he's just on the street. Like, I don't know if that makes me feel good either. So,
No, I totally agree. So Kyla, grandma, offered to pay for a mental institution because she was in agreement that he needed help as well. So the defense attorney just wanted to get him a not guilty verdict. So when that didn't happen, they found him guilty and they locked him up. There was no mental help of any kind or therapy of any kind.
Why didn't they fire that attorney if he wasn't trying to make a plea deal or do what they wanted? Like, I don't
know either.
Oh, whatever, keep going.
So he was sentenced to the mandatory 40 years they tried him as a juvenile, but with some sort of circumstances. So he got 40 years. And he has to serve 20 of them before being eligible for parole. At which point he would be 33.
Okay.
And at this time, his parole is coming up in February of 27. So next year. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's going to be 33 in February. So this is what, July? So like 6 months from now, 7 months from now.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how that goes.
Yeah.
But, all right. Paris was sent to Brazoria, Texas. It's a prison, and he was in the juvenile unit. Just a description. He has short hair. Almost buzzed, but not quite.
Okay.
And this is at that time.
Okay.
He wears thick glasses. He sits with a deeply thoughtful expression on his face. He has a shadow of a mustache just beginning to grow on his young face. And he tells this interviewer that he remembers being in a mood all day long that day. He was feeling angry and thinking all day long that he was going to snap. The recurring, overpowering thoughts that were going on in his head were, I'm going to hurt somebody. I'm going to snap. And he'd been thinking about it. And he was thinking about hurting the babysitter. Or going down the street and seeing somebody he knew and hurting them. Or even hurting a stranger. But at some point, and he says he's not sure at which point, he decided it was definitely going to be Ella. Right after he killed her, he said for a few minutes it almost seemed like it had been a dream. Like it hadn't really just happened. The whole demon story was
just made up.
Yep. Yeah. He had left her room and he was hyperventilating. But then when he walked back into the room and he saw Ella and what he had done to her, it hit him like a punch in the gut, he said, that he had really just done that. And one of the interesting things that he said was he called 911 because he felt like maybe they could do something. Maybe it wasn't too late. He had told the interviewer that he wanted to hurt his mother. That's what it was. He wanted to hurt his mother.
And so hurting Ella would hurt his mother the most.
That would be the worst thing he could do, to hurt his mother.
Why was he so mad at his mom?
Well, let's talk about it.
Do we get into it?
Yeah. Okay. How in the world did this happen? What was wrong with Paris? His father left almost as soon as they found out that Charity was pregnant. But when Paris was about a year old, he came back. And soon after that, they found out his dad had paranoid schizophrenia. He was having visual and auditory hallucinations. So we're stacking the deck with more genetic crap.
Yeah.
Charity did make his dad leave. So growing up, he actually lived back and forth between his aunt's home and his mother's home. And like I said, I think his aunt lived with Kyla.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but when they show them, she's on the farm. So
okay.
His aunt had a little girl, and that's his cousin. She described feeling scared of Paris without really being aware of it. She said she just didn't want to talk to him. Everyone knew there was something wrong with him. everyone knew.
She felt afraid. She didn't understand why. Just like
it
that.
was just a vibe.
Like that intuition feeling of like, something's off.
Yes.
Yeah.
From the time he was born, he was definitely different. He was never sociable or affectionate. And that's where I'm saying maybe there's a little bit of on the spectrum, but he's also, this will come out later, but she had him tested, and he tested as a psychopath.
Yeah, it just unfortunately
so
sounds
they don't
like,
have feelings. They're not, but usually psychopaths can be very charming. So he that's what I'm saying. Maybe he was on the spectrum because he wasn't sociable or affectionate. And like I said,
psychopaths try really hard to mask, and he's not really trying to mask.
no, he was, like I said, when those videos where you see him playing with Ella, and you're like, that kid just doesn't realize what's going on here.
Yeah.
When Ella was born, he was being reprimanded much more for doing things wrong than ever before in his life. So
that makes sense. Yeah. Because up until that point, you probably never heard, like, you can't leave those toys out. You can't play like that. You can't be loud right now. You can't run in here. You can't throw that in here. You can't, like,
yes,
all these things that were never a problem before are suddenly a problem.
So from the age of 8 to 13, this is happening. Meanwhile, Ella couldn't seem to be doing anything wrong.
And that's how it is in kids' eyes a lot. Like, they're not understanding that when they were 2 years old, they weren't getting reprimanded for things.
Yeah.
And his sister probably was getting reprimanded for things that but he just didn't feel like it was just or the same or...
Right.
Yeah.
So it was really hard on him, and he really resented that. When he would be upset, he would pound his head against the wall until it would bleed. That's not typical. That's not a typical temper tantrum like Charity said.
No.
That's a little more, and that's something that should be, you need to go to a doctor, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If your kid does that, they need to be seen.
Yeah,
maybe they need to be on a little bit of medication.
Or just take them to talk to somebody so that they have someone to, like, explain why they're so frustrated and so upset that they would hurt themselves. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Yes.
That's not typical.
Also, he would throw glass all over the place. At this point, Kyla is saying these were all signs that looked like cries for help now, but that they just weren't paying enough attention back then to realize that he needed help. And it's kind of like how I feel about when I say I never noticed Christopher's tics and buzzes and verbal things.
Well, hindsight's 20/20, you know?
Yeah.
Because in the moment, you were also still trying to be a mom to two other kids who had their own completely different things going on. And I was 12 years older, so I was in stuff in school already and having events. And then meanwhile, you're trying to be a part of your church community, and you're trying to work, and you're trying to clean the house, and you have 800 things pulling you in all these directions. And it's not like you're neglectful, but he was still growing on track. He was still meeting all his markers. Mm-hmm. He was still functioning at the same level, if not more, than me and Clay had at his age. And okay, then you know what? Things are okay. Keep going. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So after they sentenced Paris, his counselor told Charity that she deserved to know that her son is a sociopath. Charity thought this counselor was wrong. She's really blinded by the light. I mean, you know, she just loves her children.
Yeah.
And, you know, but 6 months later, she started to wonder if the doctor was right. So after she'd lived with this for a while, she started thinking about it. So she had a formal evaluation done by different counselors. The last doctor she talked to gave her the number of a risk management firm and told her that she should stop spending so much money on her son and start using her money to change her identity and move away for when Paris got out of prison. That was 6 years after the murder.
That's got to be hard to hear. So they've reevaluated him 6 years later, and whatever he said during those evaluations made that doctor be like, lady, I'm trying to tell you you're next, and you want to believe the best in him, and he's not all right.
Yeah. Isn't that a terrible thing to hear?
Especially because she really just wants to help him and wants him to be okay.
Yeah.
And, like, has all this blind faith, which I get. I'm not really mocking her. Like, I get it. Who wouldn't want to believe that there's some redeeming quality in their child? And you don't want to, you already lost your other child.
And this is a woman who's highly intelligent. She obviously understands empathy and love, and how she wants to be a better mother than she had.
Yeah.
And she feels responsible.
How could you not? Like, you would ultimately always be like, at the bottom line, I made that child. They're a part of me. So what does that say? You know what I mean? Like,
and she feels like
you're going to deal with a lot of guilt.
Him.
And like I said, hindsight is 20/20. And all those days that you had worked long hours and you came home and the kids were fighting and you just were like, enough. Like, we're just going to bed. No, I'm not going to deal with it, and I'm not going to discipline, and we're not going to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. Everybody's going to bed. Like, everybody's done today. And in like, yeah, then years later after she's dead, you look back and you're like, I should have handled it that night. I should have, like, addressed it, but I was so tired and all these excuses. And, like, it's so easy as a mother to just constantly beat yourself up because we do miss a lot and we do fuck up a lot.
We're not super women.
Yeah. It's hard.
People are people. All right, so 6 years after the murder, Charity gave birth to another son, and she named him Phoenix. He was born with a severe heart defect.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he had open heart surgery at 6 days old.
Oh.
You know who else had a heart defect? Paige.
Paige, our cousin, yeah.
But he takes heart medication and uses a feeding tube as a baby. And he reminds her, for the first time since Ella's death, what it feels like to be happy. So for 6 years, she just has been living through life.
I'm sure.
You know, just
surviving.
Yeah. Now she has another reason to feel happy. When Charity told Paris that Phoenix had a heart defect, she said he started to cry, like really cry. And she had never heard him cry like that before, ever. Not even over Ella, or not even over being in prison. He told Charity that after everything he did to her, it really wasn't fair that she has to go through this with her baby. And he somehow believes it's his fault, like some kind of karmic thing.
Well, that shows a lot of reasoning and self-reflection. I mean, I guess that could all just be bullshit, but that's a lot of a put on when you're in jail and everybody already thinks you're a psychopath anyways. Like, what's even the point of putting on a show? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of seems like a genuine thing to say.
Right.
Like, I put bad out into the world and now the world put bad into the baby. Like,
yeah. So Paris turned 19 and they transferred him to an adult unit in prison. And so, let's see, 19 from 13, so that's 6 years.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or 7 years.
Blanked out for a minute there.
6 years.
6 years.
Okay, so Charity, she was extremely worried something bad was going to happen to him. The prison that he was in actually had a reputation for not being safe for the inmates. In other words, the guards pretty much turned another eye.
Let the inmates handle the inmates.
They did. And she knows there are some who would love to kill him just for the notoriety of killing this baby killer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Paris says that he had to learn how to live in prison, that you have to walk in confidence with your head held high to avoid being a target. So he says he has to make sure to present himself as somebody who isn't a pushover. He says everybody is always sizing you up in any unit you're in.
Oh, yeah. Prison life is...
He says it never goes away.
Yeah.
He says it's like being raised by Orwell's Big Brother or Kessie's Nurse Ratched while living under a rock. So this is what I mean about he's well read.
He's very well read. Yeah. No, I don't. You're in fight or flight 24/7. There's not a minute that you don't.
But you can't look scared.
Unless you have a cell by yourself.
Yeah.
If you have a cell by yourself and it's shut, like lockdown, lights out time, maybe you have like a little bit of decompressed time. But if you have a cellmate, or there's never a moment where you're not like looking over your shoulder.
Right. It's scary. He said you're always being watched and scrutinized. And
And he might not even be the cold, calloused one there. You know what I mean? There might be people in there worse than him. You don't know.
Right. He says you're expected to perform in certain ways, and there's punishments if you don't. And he says it's like living under a rock because you're not out there experiencing things. And then he talks about all the things that he hasn't gotten to experience, such as things that help you socialize and prepare for adulthood, like getting a driver's license, going to prom, having a girlfriend, going to parties, or having that stupid first drunk when you're young.
Yeah, that's one of those things when you were in your little, I'm in a mood and all I can think about is hurting someone. Why didn't any of that pop in your smart little well-read brain? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But you're 13. I'm not trying to be a kind of a total bitch here, but like kids don't chess play. You know what I mean? They think very instantaneously, and you know, if you would have sat for 1 second and been like, my fucking sister ruins my goddamn life, but if I kill her, I can't go to get my license and get the fuck out of here like I finally want to, and I can't go to prom and I can't make out that girl. Like, you didn't sit and think about like, well, what's at risk if I do this thing that I want to do?
You're very much in the now. You're very much in the now. Yeah. He said when you miss those, he calls them snapshot moments, you really just get passed by in life. And he says he misses his family. He misses the family that he had, that he knows he tore apart. When I say manipulative, if he is, when you watch him,
he's really selling it.
He seems
genuine.
Like he seems genuine, like he owns up to what he did and that he will never do it again. He says he would take his own life if he ever got the urge to do something like that ever again.
Yeah, you think that until you're manic, but it's easy to say that when you're not manic, right?
Yes.
But when you're manic, you're not thinking in those logical ways. That's why you're manic. It just is, he had a hard time fitting in before. Like we said, like he was very smart and talked different than the kids his age and was more well-read and all these things, and that probably made it hard for him to socialize, and he had all these kind of like social things that were wrong with him, right? And he's exactly right. Like now, if you get out and you're 33, you're still fucking weird. You still can't fucking relate to anybody because you have not experienced anything that anyone else has ever experienced. You were stripped of all of those like core memories that everybody can like, relate to on some level.
Yeah.
Even in other countries, like even if it's not like American culture, in other countries they have rites of passage and they start driving, or they, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they have their first kiss, they get their first job. Like there's still things that no matter where you are in the world, you could look at somebody and be like, oh, me too,
Yeah.
And now he doesn't have that either. Now, it's through his own doing. It's not lost on me that that's his fault. But when you get out and you can't assimilate because you don't have anything to fucking talk with anybody about, and everybody knows who the fuck you are probably, how do you function? How do you not end up just a drug addict or committing another crime, or, you know what I mean? Like, you have to have a lot of resources and you have to have a lot of willpower to be like, because I'm not going to be, that's why, because I'm going to make it work. Like,
that's what he says.
I'm not gonna squander my chances. But that's the thing too. He is so fucking smart, and he has all this time to think about what a parole board would need to hear. That's all he's had time to think about.
That's what the assessors say. They say, "Oh, he's very good. He's
had nothing but time.
He's saying everything. He's practicing for the patrol
He's had nothing to think of except for what will impress the parole board. Mm-hmm. What do they look for? What do they want to hear? If they want to hear you say, like, I did it, they don't want you to make excuses about why you did it. They don't want you to try to be excusatory in any way. They want you to fully show accountability for your actions. They want to see that you've done work on yourself and schoolwork while you had the time to. Like, there are these very concrete things that they want to see that you've done, like these hoops that they make you jump through. But they talk to the people who run the class. You know what I mean? Like, they want to see that you actually did do, like, when you got there, you were like, it wasn't my fault. And then, like, you were like, grew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they can still tell when you're just putting on.
Well, when he talks about what he did, he said he feels guilt and remorse. Because not only did he do something stupid that got him locked away, it's not just that, but it's actually that he tore his own family apart and it can never be fixed. And that's what he misses the most. He says he wouldn't mind being incarcerated if he knew that his mom and Ella were coming to visit him. Charity allows Paris to talk to Phoenix when he calls. Paris also writes long letters to Phoenix. I know, cringe, right?
I'm sorry. I think that would have to be a boundary that I'd set. Like, Paris, I love you and I will come and visit you, but you need to understand that.
That's what I'm saying. She's just like, this is my family and I just got a deal. And everybody, she doesn't understand boundaries. She does now. We'll get into it. But
I just think even if you understand, I don't know. I think I'd have to just be like, nope, you're not going to talk to, like you have to understand that you've lost that trust and that ability. Like, your relationship is with me now, and I'm thankful for that, and I love you. But my relationship with Phoenix has nothing to do with you, and won't.
Yes.
But maybe she's afraid that if she said that and she set that boundary and he gets out, Phoenix is next.
She does. She has both feelings on it.
How do you navigate that? Because then you're really stuck between, like, I change my identity and move away, or I gotta make Phoenix seem really cool to him and really great, and so that he doesn't fucking hate him.
That's frightening. Isn't it just terrifying living your life under that?
Between a rock and a hard place?
Yeah. So he says he wishes he could be the brother to Phoenix that he wasn't to Ella. And he, is sorry that he can't be there to be a big brother. Recently, though, in 2021, Charity decided to go no contact with Paris. She doesn't trust him now. She thinks he could harm her or Phoenix. Because, now this is the next weird thing. Paris has shown a strong affinity for violent comic books depicting sexual assault on women. Things like torturing them, etc.
In prison?
Yes.
And how'd she find that out?
I'm not sure how she found it out, but at one point, Charity found out that her mother, Kyla, was sending these types of books to Paris in prison.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
I am not. I wish I was.
You have this boy who's disturbed, and you're, like, feeding into the exact opposite of what you're supposed to, like, do to help him. Like,
yeah, it doesn't.
No violence.
Doesn't Kyla
no
remind
porn,
you of Grandma
no
Sandy?
assault. Yep. Yes, she does. Your mom to a T. Yeah, no, like.
So.
And the fact that he would accept them and take them instead of being like.
It doesn't show much brains.
Yeah.
Because like, the parole board's going to know about that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is there's a twist. She forbade any further books to be allowed from Kyla because she was still, in charge. That upset Paris so much that he and Kyla sued Charity. Paris wanted her rights as a parent relinquished, and Kyla wanted guardian rights.
I hope that they won, because he's never getting paroled now. Because when they read the case documents and why she did what she did, and it wasn't just because, like, she was jealous of her mom, like, it's because she was trying to protect what he was getting, like, corrupting his mind and giving him these things that gives you fantasies and stuff to focus on that's not good.
Right.
Like, she was just trying to help him.
Yeah.
Fine, go be with your fucking grandma.
Right.
You two are made for each other.
Well, she was pissed. But eventually, Paris dropped the lawsuit and they continued talking on the phone, which tells me Paris was like, oh, wait, there's going to be a parole hearing at some point. Maybe I better not go through with this.
I don't want somebody to show up my parole hearing pissed.
So, what ended up happening that really caused her to just draw the line, he was known to be in contact with this woman who was arrested for planning a mass shooting. And she lived 2 hours away from Charity. So, this is once he was an adult in the adults prison. So, yeah, Charity's like, he doesn't make good decisions. I think he's a liar. I don't trust what he says.
I couldn't agree more.
She does. So she's no contact. It is difficult for Charity to accept that her son is and could be a danger to her and Phoenix. But after all these years, she is finally able to recognize the manipulative psychopath. And she knows that she must sever ties completely. So the last communication she had with Paris was to tell him that his grandmother died. And they didn't specify whether it was Kyla or a different, like her dad's mother. But it was probably Kyla. At the end of the call, they both agreed that they should go back to no contact. That's...
Well, good for her. I mean, I guess at 13 when that happens, you think, I've had 13 years to raise my son, and I obviously fucked up or missed something, right?
Oh, I didn't tell you this. I meant to throw it in there. This was the thing that pissed me off about her.
Oh, what?
6 months before he killed Ella, she relapsed. And he got to see what his addictive mother looked like. And he didn't like it. And he got mad at her. He was calling her names like bitch, cunt, whore. And she was having a hard time. And then he said, I am going to stab Ella to death. And she put him into a mental institution. And then took him out. And that was the end of his mental. So when you say were there signs...
Yeah, like when he said he was going to do it.
Yeah.
I just think that she was dealing with so much guilt. And like, I did this is all my fault. And low-key, kind of was. You know, not everything that kids do are directly the parents' fault. But when your kid's saying things like, I'm going to stab my fucking sister to death. It would be different if you relapse and he was saying, I'm going to stab you to death. Or so, you know what I mean? But like, what's this little innocent girl? You know what I mean? Like, she's suffering too because her mom, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
It shows something different. And she just had to be dealing with so much guilt that she just wanted to, for all those years, to try to be there and support him and prove that he was okay and that he could change and she could change and
they could be a happy fairy tale family.
No, I'm glad she woke up because a lot of people just don't.
Yeah.
I'm glad she woke up.
For her son's, Phoenix's sake.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But that's got to be hard because she just now started grieving that loss then of her son after all these, you know what I mean? Like there was still hope for that whole time.
In her mind.
And now she's now like that grieving process finally starts of like,
nope.
There's nothing here.
Yeah.
I lost my daughter and I lost my son.
You should watch the interview. There's an interview that, you know, Piers, is his name Piers Morgan? He goes to the jail and interviews him. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. And there's a couple of...
I kind of can't believe I haven't seen whatever you're saying that there's a documentary on this, but
there's another documentary called something like My Child the Killer or something like that. There's a couple of really good documentaries out on this, and they each have different information.
But I thought for a second that I did know what you're talking about because I remember watching something about a brother that killed a sister, and it was something like that was his defense. Like I was hallucinating, I was dreaming, and when I woke up, I was on top of her, and I thought that that's what you were talking about. But then nothing else you were saying clicked at all. Like, none of the other things I was like,
Yeah,
now
I'd
I think
never
it's
seen
a
it
different
before
one.
either. And this has
So-
been since, what did I say, 2003? 2008? 2007.
Okay.
Because 20 years from that would be 27, which is when he's... Yeah, 2007. So I can't believe I never heard it either. But
Yeah. Wow, it was a awful case. Just so many, like I said, hindsight, so many chances to prevent this, get somebody some help, or put them in a psych or whatever you needed to do. But
well, that's what I wanted to say is I really feel that for the sake of society, not just Paris and his family, but for society's sake, and the fact that he could be released into society someday, he should have been getting mental help the entire time, starting as soon as they locked him up.
yeah,
I feel that that is something that needs to be addressed. That it's not just people like him, but anybody that commits a crime, especially if they're a child, they should be getting...
well, that's a huge
therapy.
problem with our incarceration system, is that they call it reformatories because you're being reformed,
But you're not.
but you're not. You're just being
punished.
told where to go and what to do every second of your life, which is not teaching you any coping skills or teaching you how to manage your emotions or teaching you how to plan your day. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You're just a rat on a wheel, and then on top of that, you're forced to join a gang to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And you know, this entire fucked up situation.
You got to assimilate into these other criminals.
Yeah, to stay safe. And then if you do get out, how the fuck are you supposed to manage being in the world anymore? You have PTSD. You didn't learn any skills. You know what I mean? Like, I know you can take classes and stuff like that, but you didn't learn any emotional skills. You might have a trade, but what happens when you have a bad day? You didn't learn how to deal with bad days, you know?
Right.
You don't have an emotional toolkit, you know, or like calling it reformatories is just laughable. Like we're not reforming.
No. Not like other countries. I've seen other countries where jail is like a resort on a nice country hillside in a nice little cabin. Did you ever see that? I think that might be Sweden.
No.
And the criminals go and they're totally rehabilitated. It's like, yeah, you just needed a break. Here's 2 months in this resort. We'll do everything for you. We'll take care of you. We'll, you know.
Yeah, jail should really be like, yeah, you have to be separated and you have to lose some freedom so that you understand what freedom is worth. But during the day, you're going to plan what classes you want to take. You have to go to counseling, but you're going to plan what classes you want to take and how to manage your day. And
it'll never happen in our country because of capitalism. Because nobody wants to tax anybody. Nobody wants to pay taxes to pay for that.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between our country and other countries.
Pay taxes for some criminal? Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, because then we would have less criminals.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't get out and reoffend.
Right.
What is that? The recidivism rate.
Nice word. I had learned that word in college, but had forgotten it.
That was my $10 word of the day.
Nice.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. The system has us exactly where they want us. That's the point. We're right exactly where we're supposed to be. Under them.
Yeah.
Can't get out.
Rats in a cage.
Yeah. Maybe you win the lottery. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, otherwise, if you don't have generational wealth, you're working 4 times as hard to try to establish that. So, yeah, it's fucked up. I feel bad for that little girl.
I know, she was just precious.
She was just failed by all the people around her. And that's not to say that the mom doesn't understand that or feel bad, you know. I'm not trying to guilt the mom, but we have to do better as parents. We really do.
Yeah. It's just hard when you aren't raised in a environment with well-coped, well-adjusted people.
Oh, and it's hard in a capitalistic society where if I want to be able to do the things that CPS says I need to do to have a good home, which is have a house, clothes that fit you, food in the cupboards, and heat and running water. Bye, I'm at work.
Yeah.
Don't die.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. There's a lot on the shoulders of single parents. There's a lot on your shoulders.
I'm amazed.
There's a lot when you're not single. When you're in a marriage, there's a lot on your fucking shoulders as parents. But
in this day and age, I'm amazed that there's not more crime.
It's hard. All right, Mama. Well, thanks for looking that case up and sharing it with us. I'm glad
around.
You were able to get through the whole thing without a coughing fit. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm doing better.
You're healing. That's good. That's good.
If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, comment. We love the comments. Who commented recently? Darn it, now I forget her name. She's so great. There's two that are commenting on our Facebook page with "Now you'll never see again since you're permanently banned from Facebook." If you don't know about that, watch the last episode.
Yeah.
But you know, they're so sweet and they're just hoping that I feel better, and they're so glad we've got episodes out. And
well,
I can't think of their names right now, but yeah, thank you. We appreciate you. Time. And one said she laughs so hard. We remind her of her and her daughter, and she laughs all day at work, which is great. It's hard to laugh at work, right?
That's what Melissa said, that she listens while she's working. So, and Sam and Rachel, my Aubrey's aunt Sam. Oh, her aunts Sam and Rachel. You know, they do travel nurse work, and so they drive a lot. They travel a lot, and
okay.
She said they listen on their car rides, and she was like, "We need new material for our next car ride." So,
okay.
Yeah, they're always listening.
Well, they'll be happy. Okay, so you know I was using EQ.
Yes.
And before I was using an EQ called Podcast, and it made everything just a little bit more trebly.
Okay.
Like it took the bottom away. And that's the one that made your voice sound like a robot when laughed.
I would laugh, because it was like, what the fuck was that? Yeah.
Yeah, you sound like a dolphin or something.
Yes.
Well, so I stopped using that, and I used one called Fuller Voice, which adds a little bottom to it.
Okay.
And then Chris and I drove to Columbus the other day, and we listened to an episode with the Fuller Voice. It was terrible in the car. Oh my God, so bottom heavy. I had to take away the entire bottom on my EQ and the mid and turn the treble all the way up so that it would just sound listenable. Chris was like, "I'm not listening to this." And he puts earplugs in his ears. He was like, "This is hurting my ears."
Stop fucking with the sound.
No more EQ. It's just our voices.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
It's just our voices. I wanted it to sound like real professional, like a radio, but you know, we're just Courtney and Kelly. And
we could do that on the fucking system that we're recording it on.
It's all right.
That has all the channels. We could just listen sometime and tune it up and then set it to like Kelly's setting and Courtney's setting so that you're trebled and bassed how you like. And then when we record on the Logic Pro, do it through the system that we're using right now instead of your fucking system.
Okay.
This is a professional musician system.
It's a full-blown studio.
Yeah, we're in a studio. Quit using your fucking phone editor that's free that has a fucking EQ setting on it.
It's not free. It's $150.
Oh my God. Stop using that for EQ. Let's have Christopher listen and run some sound test, and then we'll just get it set how we like it.
Okay.
And then I'm sure it has settings where you can just like tap a button and it goes, and like, you know what I mean?
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, we'll do that, and we'll get it set how we like. Because I agree, there are certain podcasts I listen to, and they sound good. They sound like it's pleasing to listen to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you there, but whatever the EQ settings have been that you've been using have been, like I told you, our original episodes, it's like some of them I can't even listen to unless I'm literally just listening on my phone. Because if I try to listen in the car or like through my Bluetooth when I'm in the shower, I can't hear it. Like, it's awful. So
yeah. So we're still dealing with that. We're still making tweaks.
We're a work in progress. Forever and ever.
My daughter is a clumsy bitch who fell again yesterday.
That's 2 times in 1 week.
So
I'm really over it.
She's got injuries and
I'm scraped up.
girl.
I was delivering Amazon packages.
That's her new side hustle.
Amazon Flex, and my phone alerted me to something, so I looked at it, which I shouldn't have done because then I wasn't looking at my walking path, and the pavement was uneven, and I tripped. And I did that thing where you try, like, you trip, but you try to recover by running into it.
You try to get that other step.
And you're like, oh, I can catch up and stand back up, except for it wasn't fucking happening, and I was just bending further and further over. So then I made the quick decision to do a SWAT police ninja roll to protect my face.
I wish there was a ring cam
so
video of it.
So I just tucked my chin and tucked my arm and just rolled, and then just landed and then just laid in their driveway on my back like this. And then I picked my head up and looked at their front door for a ring camera, which there was not one. And I was like, thank God you don't have a ring camera. And so I stood back up and grabbed all the stuff that I dropped, and I just stood there like, I was picking up my stuff, and I just stood there like this, and I was like, I was like, nothing to see here. And so I just acted even weirder about it, and I was like, no one saw a thing. And then I just started walking through the driveway going like this, and there were people outside everywhere. Like, I know if I'm not on someone's fucking security camera, there were people who just saw me do that, and it was so, I was like, I got up to their porch and I was like, well, that was embarrassing, and I just put their package down and walked away. But then the next morning I woke up and my shoulder is jammed and my arm muscle is like bruised the whole way down. It hurts. And I fucked up the left side of my neck after I just got over whiplash in the right side of my neck. And now the left side hurts. And of course my ass still hurts from before. It's still bruised and not healed. And
from the first fall.
All beat to fuck. And Matt's like, doesn't want me to like leave the house anymore, as he's afraid I'm gonna fall everywhere I go. And I was
Can't
like,
blame him for that.
I never fall either. Like, never, ever. I always, like, if I slip on ice, like, I catch myself. Like, I don't fall. And 2 times in 1 week is really a hit to the ego.
Man.
So yeah, I'm just a little. That's why I'm not wearing any makeup today. My neck hurts, and I just don't feel good. My arm fucking hurts. Everything hurts to do. My hair, like, this hurts. So it's just plain old Courtney today.
I think you're beautiful when you're fresh-faced.
Thanks. I love you, Mama.
I love you. And we love you.
We love you guys. Thanks for being here with us. And we love doing this, and we really appreciate you guys. So continue to comment and let us know what you think. And, of course, like and subscribe. And next episode is episode 70.
Oh, wow.
70 episodes down. Damn. Can't believe it.
All right. Well, tune in next time.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.